2026 is upon us, and I feel like I did nothing for the entirety of 2025, which is true. 2025 wasn't that terrible. I learned how to get better at perspective. I learned a whole ton about rendering. Oh my goodness, thank God. If you amazing, beautiful viewers who are watching this video don't mind me, I'm going to go on a little tangent about how my 2025 went and what went wrong basically with it, at least in my opinion. If I had to choose where it went wrong, I would say my ambition and stubbornness, but mainly my stubbornness, okay? So when my 2025 year started off, it was actually pretty good. The channels I had were doing pretty well, in my opinion, and everything was just going well. But my Achilles heel was my stubbornness. You see, let's just say some things happened in my life and everything kind of got cluttered around. I had a schedule for my YouTubing when it came to my art and gaming channel, and I knew I had to change the schedule, but it was my stubbornness that didn't allow me. I was like, well, should I? No, I shouldn't do this. I was kind of scared, anxiety, all that stuff because the schedule that I had been working for a pretty long while. It's just that, things like work, school and stuff, started pushing their way in and I had to change the schedule. But because of my stubbornness, once again, I didn't want to change it. So that basically ended up to me being burnt out, trying to catch up on the schedule and trying to abide by it. I had so many ideas and plans that it felt like I was just like, you know how when you're writing something for reading class, right? And you kind of space out a little bit. Then when you stop and focus on the paper, you realize you wrote the same thing over and over for 4 sentences, right? And now you gotta start at the beginning and do it again. That's exactly how I felt when I was, trying to do the recording and editing and making plans and scheduling. It felt like I was doing the same thing over and over and not progressing, and this led me to a huge burnout. And not only that, because of the PC I had at the time, I was very limited in what I could do, y'all. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the PC, it wasn't bad, but for the things that I was trying to do, it was kind of, not really all there. Like, for example, when it came to recording video, like, for example, y'all, um, I love Minecraft. I've always wanted to be a Minecraft YouTuber. I have a gaming channel that I'm trying to record Minecraft on. I can't really record Minecraft mods on the PC that I was using. It tried its best, but I couldn't really record all that well. I felt insecure about the video quality. It felt slow. It felt like you know how when a mod's too big, or like when the everything's trying to load in, you try to move, and like you can tell that it's slow, but like it's keeping up kind of, but it's like slow, like internet slow, right? So I couldn't find any breathing room. I couldn't because I couldn't sit down because of my perfectionism and all that stuff. I couldn't sit down and be like, you know what? We gotta do this, we gotta do that, and we gotta do this. Okay, let's make a plan. Let's make a plan for one place, whether it's Notion, Google Docs, on paper. Let's just do that, and boom. But no, I couldn't do that. I just had to, okay, let's restart, let's restart, let's restart, let's restart, let's restart. Plans over here, plans over there. Let's go on Google Docs, let's go on Notion. I was just everywhere, y'all. For the last months of 2025, I was everywhere trying to do things at the same time, and it was just crazy. And then I got a little bit of like art insecurity. Like, for example, y'all, I love the way I draw. I love drawing thick women. I love it. I love drawing chubby, muscular men. I love it all. I love drawing the furries. Shout out to the furry fandom. Love y'all. But the thing I had, but the like, what basically became a problem was that there were some things in art that I just, it's not that I didn't know. I knew how to do them, right? I just didn't know how to apply the character into that. Like, for example, perspective, right? I didn't really know how to like put my characters in perspective. I knew how to do perspective, 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, fish eye perspective, all that other stuff. But the problem I had was like, how do I apply my character in this manner, right? And then I'd be on Twitter, right? Y'all, I'm gonna tell you this: when they say jealousy is like something that steals joy, it really is true because I was looking at these other artists on Twitter. I'm like, dang, I've been on Twitter longer than you, and you instantly got 1K. I've been like, bro, I've been doing this for a good minute. You instantly got 1K. Congratulations. And I was trying to hide that, just like, oh, I ain't jealous, but on the inside, I was jealous. I was feeling insecure about my art, and I'd be like, dang, like I'm not really able to draw like them and all that other stuff, right? And then like I had to do it. I went to the manga artist. And I'm like, you know what? Why am I doing this to myself? Let me just go off of Twitter, like focus. And that's what I did. I focused on 1 point, 2 point, 3 point perspective. And I've told y'all many times I want to be a manga artist, and here I am, not putting in the work to be a manga artist. So, yeah, basically that's what's been happening, with my 2025. But this year, in 2026, it's going to be different. I'm going to be following this plan called the Panels Pixel Progress. This plan will help me to keep track of all the things I'm trying to do in 2026, and not only keep track of it, but complete it. I already have my 2026 resolution ready and everything. Once 2026 happens, this plan will be put into motion, man. And now I feel like one of those alien movies where they're trying. Never mind. Well, it's the same thing as last year. Get both channels to 1K, and for a little bit of extraness on this goal, after I get to 1K, if I do get to 1K this year, which I will, I'm going to try and get to 1K and 500 for both channels, or as close as I can. But I'm going to be putting myself out there more. I'm going to be interacting with fandoms more. I'm going to be trying to solo games instead of trying to see if one of my boys can help me, because Lord knows I am scared of those horror games, y'all. Horror Minecraft, Five Nights at Freddy's, it's all, bro. I'm scared. And I'm going to be trying to do more with my art instead of just, one Gunner post, two Gunner posts, three Gunner posts, and then boom. But I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful 2026. I hope everything's on your plans and resolutions go well. And I just hope that everybody's able to wake up millionaires, have coffee, have coffee in bed, sleep in the whole day and everything, okay? And hopefully we all get to play good, glorious GTA 6.